new minimum wage to allow President Bulletin to engage in more consultation with stakeholders. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, made this known to State House correspondent. He said the president has studied the report submitted to by the Tripartite Committee on Minimum Wage and would consult further before a final submission on new national minimum wage to the National Assembly. In another development, the face-off between organized labor and the Aburan-led leadership of the Labour Party has taken a new dimension as members of the NLC were chased away with tear gas, stones and other harmful objects. It all began when members of the Nigeria Labour Congress National Transmission Committee stormed the headquarters of the Labour Party in Abuja, demanding the immediate resignation of the national chairman, Julius Abure. In an attempt to force their way into the premises, the police fired tear gas and dispatched the protesters. Addressing journalists after the incident, the acting chairman of the Transition Committee said the tenure of Julius Abure expired on June 20th, 2024.
From today, that is the end of Abure era. Whether he has sponsors anywhere, we are Nigerians. Nobody will tell us how to mobilize in this country. If we can mobilize 100 people, we can mobilize 10,000 people. And we have now seen that it's like he is working with some part of the police unofficially. That is exactly what is happening.
Away from that, the Federal Executive Council has approved the immediate ban on single-use plastics across all federal government parastatals and agencies. Single-use plastics consist of polystyrene or plastic food and beverage containers, bottles, straws, cups, cutlery, and disposable plastic bags that are designed for or intended to be used once and discarded. Announcing this to State House correspondent after the cabinet meeting on Tuesday in Abuja, Minister of State for Environment Ishaq Salako said the ban aligns with climate change policies and to protect the ecosystem and ensure biodiversity. In another development, the coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Mohammed Pate, has called for a multi-sectoral approach to forestall outbreak of infectious diseases like cholera, typhoid fever and tuberculosis. Professor Pate, while speaking on Channels Television today, said the approach should not only be biomedical, which is curative, but the right public policies must be put in place to provide social safety net for vulnerable and poor people. The health minister also said the federal government has mobilized resources to contain the spread of cholera in the country. Moving on, the Rivers State Commissioner for Health, Adezore, says the prime suspect in the explosive detonation that happened on Tuesday has been found. The incident happened around the Hotel Presidential Access along the Port Harcourt-Aba Expressway. The commissioner had earlier announced that the explosion was a failed attempt and that one person was injured. She had asked all public and private hospitals to watch out for this person and his accomplices and detain them if they came to their facility. Now, last night, she told newsmen that the key suspect was found in a hospital in the state.
And so when a young man was brought to the River State University Teaching Hospital with alleged injuries sustained during what was said to be a road traffic accident, the medical personnel that were on hand to examine him and offer medical care were on alert and immediately recognized that the injuries that were seen on this individual were not in tandem with a road traffic accident and rather resembled injuries that would have come from blast. The individual was taken to the theater for immediate resuscitation because as at the time he was brought in, he was semi-conscious.
Now, she said he is in intensive care and security has been tightened around the facility.
He is currently stable. We are working in tandem with the River State Police Command, and so the hospital has been fully secured. The premises and the perimeter have been fully secured. The patient is undergoing current medical treatment. He is stable, and the police is doing their own part with carrying out the necessary investigations.
Earlier, police said 2 people were injured in the explosion that went off on Tuesday along Aba Road in Port Harcourt. The police commissioner in River State, Tim Jidisu, spoke in a television interview.
4 persons in a white roller vehicle somewhere along Aba Road stopped their vehicle and there was an explosion. And the information we gathered was that 2 of the occupants of the vehicle were injured, while 2 others came out, put them in the vehicle and drove off, out of town, so to say. We have triggered all necessary units of the Nigerian Police Force within the state to be on the lookout for this vehicle and the victims in case they are going for treatment anywhere.
The Rivers State Police Commissioner also said the incident is being investigated.
At the same time, we have brought in officers in charge of the bomb squad to the area, and then they have been there and they have done wonderful jobs. They have been able to gather particles and then ID in the squad. At the end of it, we should be able to confirm the kind of IED that has been exploded today.
He could not help them if the explosion was linked to the mob organized by the loyalists of the FCT minister Nyesom Wike in support of the police barricade of the 23 local government area secretariat.
The information at my disposal was that they were in a vehicle. They stopped very close to the, not too far from the presidential hotel where the explosion took place. I will not want to relate it to that yet. We are gathering information. We have talked to people around there. The police was quite there, and the team has been dedicated to information before the end of.
Other news, some motorists around the Choba axis of Port Harcourt have raised along the frequent car the area. Motorist car owners need to be mindful. Speaking to a correspondent, they attributed the frequent car snatching to ignorance on the part of some car owners. Motorists told that owners to drop in to walk within the premises of the center.
If you're going to ban the police inside a place about your car, the security people and rich car not like in the car is go to Colombo and so.
Meanwhile, the Tobax division is expecting this. So there is no electric.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
You're welcome back, and now the rest of the news. Today is the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, and a pharmacist, Joseph Ibirim, has emphasized the importance of avoiding any drug that impairs reasoning abilities. Mr. Ibirim, who is the secretary of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria Rivers State Chapter, spoke on Wazobia FM.
Well, no matter the name where they call them, both the one where you know and the one where we go later, don't know. As long as it affect the way you take the reason, the way you take the differentiate one or two things, the way you take the behave, that thing na exhibit, that thing na substance. No, when it comes to parasite, we use the word misuse because that one now no get effect for the head. So with that definition, when I give you, it gets the ones where if you hear what they say, drug and substance, get ones with medicine, we get better use.
Mr. Ibirim also addressed the dangerous practice of using paracetamol for cooking.
You and I know say anything we no get approval from the regulatory bodies. Nobody don't do research. Show say 2 things. This thing they work. 2, it they safe. You understand? If you meet these 2 conditions, then if they go approve, say may they use that thing. But even if the thing they work, you use Panadol or anything, take cook food, it done. But what of the consequence? I be one shop food we done today, can't go enter hospital for another 2 years, 3 years or forever. So now those things will go reason.
The International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking is celebrated June 26 every year to raise awareness about the consequences of drug use, including physical and psychological harm, overdose, and societal problems. Now, this year's theme is the evidence is clear. Invest in prevention. Elsewhere, former Kaduna State Governor El Rufai has sued the Assembly that this year the levy spent of 400 billion naira, leaving the state with huge debt liabilities. Mr. El Rufai filed a fundamental rights suit at Assembly to Mustafa. Mr. El Rufai declared the report of the Assembly probe as null and void, having not been the opportunity to fair allegations against him and administration by the in space, the first executive at 1 billion of effective use by press natural gas CNG to boost stations enforcement NDA. Council gave proof on Tuesday at its meeting presided over by President Bola Tinubu. Speaking with 8 hours meeting and Latin at the procurement of firearms and ammunition worth $1.442 billion to strengthen the anti-trafficking. In entertainment, veteran Nollywood actor Anayo Okan has America's currently processing Nollywood actors produce in a short. Nollywood actors follow to produce short. In a short. Anayo has been in just a few weeks. In sports, Argentina became the first nation to book their spot in the quarterfinals of the 2024 Copa America as Lautaro Martinez.
And now we bring you news from around the world.
Doctors say at least 13 protesters were killed during protests in Kenya. A section of parliament went up in flames as demonstrations against new tax proposal escalated crowd police lines to storm parliament in the capital, Nairobi, before part of it. President Ruto said all means would be deployed to prevent any attempt by dangerous criminals to undermine the security and stability of the country.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
That's happening news this afternoon. Before we go, let's have a look at the major stories. NLC and TUC are meeting today over minimum wage. The prime suspect in Tuesday's explosion in Port Harcourt has been found. Today is the International Day Against Drug Abuse, Illicit Trafficking. And on the foreign scene, 13 people have been killed as protesters in Kenya set parliament ablaze. The news was edited by Martha Okirinkem. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215.